I know you can't be asking me that question, man.
Dylan Gabriel is in for Cleveland.
Come on, man.
On a 3rd and goal. Gabriel in the pocket. Gabriel trying to run, and he gets chopped down by...
I didn't want to put like Dylan in a bad situation.
Yeah, he battled like he does. I thought he made some unbelievable plays.
We can't see that's like the thing. Like, if we want to change the narrative, change the franchise, if we want to like help, we got to speak life. You can't. Those type of things is like separate us. Like a lot of the players like get these type of questions, and then we want to be working with y'all. We want to be proactive, but like when you ask questions or when questions are asked to us players, and it's like you pinning stuff against each other, it's like, come on now, you know?
It was another rough night for the Cleveland Browns as they dropped a tight matchup to the Buffalo Bills, falling 23-20 in a game that felt right there for the taking, but slipped away when it mattered most. The final score told one version of the night, but the tape showed something deeper. Even in the loss, one name kept buzzing through the stadium and all over social media. Shedeur Sanders stood in the middle of chaos, pressure, and nonstop contact. The rookie quarterback became the pulse of the Browns, showing grit you cannot coach and toughness you either bring with you or you do not.
This is one guy I can't wait to see, and it's Shedeur Sanders. And there's been some up and down with this young man in his career, but I'll tell you what, quarterback's the hardest thing going in football. And this young man has had an uphill battle in terms of media scrutiny, unfair judgment of character. But it seems like the guys in that locker room really like him. And when he's out there playing football, he doesn't look to be a fish out of water. He looks like an NFL quarterback. I look forward to watching him get better and better.
From the jump, Cleveland looked like a team grinding uphill. Buffalo walked in confident, led by Josh Allen and an offense that had been torching defenses all season. The Bills were favored for a reason, and they played like it. Their attack was quick, aggressive, and kept the pressure coming. On the other side, the Browns knew the margin was thin. Their defense fought hard, but the offense had been chasing consistency all year, struggling to keep drives alive and close strong when it counted. Still, Cleveland's belief rested on the shoulders of their young quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. From the opening snap, he looked ready for the spotlight, calm, focused, and fully locked in. No rushed decisions, no visible nerves, just control. Sanders stepped onto the field with confidence far beyond his experience, running the offense like he belonged. Then came the throw that changed the energy, a clean, sharp touchdown strike that lifted the crowd and forced the league to take notice.
Sanders somehow gets away, and Sanders is going to run for it. Outstanding, Shedeur Sanders.
That first score was not just points on the board, it was a statement. It was a statement moment, no doubt about it. The ball came out quick and sharp, right on the money, dropping perfectly into the receiver's hands as defenders closed fast. No extra movement, no hesitation, just clean execution. For a short stretch, it felt like Cleveland had finally tapped into something real. The offense caught a rhythm, and the energy inside the stadium shifted in a heartbeat. Momentum started stacking up, and belief crept in. But Buffalo was not letting that ride. Their defense adjusted on the fly, cranking up the heat and reminding everyone why they are one of the most aggressive units in football. As the first half moved along, the pocket collapsed faster, the contact got rougher, and Shedeur Sanders began absorbing shot after shot. The Bills' pass rush came in waves, nonstop and unforgiving. The rookie quarterback was under constant pressure, rarely getting a clean look. Then came the moment that stopped everything cold. Midway through the second quarter, Sanders released a pass and immediately paid for it. A heavy hit caught him clean, jarring his hand and sending him to the turf as the stadium went silent.
Let's check in with Evan.
Yeah, he rushed right off the field, headed in the locker room with a tent right now. It's his pinky finger, appeared to either be his nail or the tip of the finger with some blood attached to it. Obviously, it's a pain, but came right off, hanging outside the blue tent right now.
He's grabbing his nose. Pinky's definitely bloody there. Yeah, something maybe caught it on a helmet or...
He stayed down, and the mood shifted instantly. Trainers rushed out while fans held their breath, the worry clear on every face. The fear was obvious, wondering if the night had just ended right there. Sanders eventually made it to the sideline with blood visible on his finger, the physical toll impossible to ignore. It looked bad and felt even worse, and many assumed Cleveland's hopes walked off with him. Then something unexpected happened. When the second half opened, Shedeur Sanders came jogging back onto the field against the odds, hand wrapped tight, eyes locked in, jaw set, and body language screaming determination.
Shedeur Sanders is how he played, and then he also had to leave with the pinky injury, come back. How did that all go?
Yeah, he battled like he does. I thought he made some unbelievable plays with his feet today, which I thought going into the game that may be the case. He'll fight through injuries. Nothing, little finger injuries, not going to keep him out of there. But always room to grow for a young player. But really proud of how he fought.
That moment said everything about who he is. No fear, no excuses, just unfinished business written all over him. By that point, Buffalo had control, and Cleveland's offense was grinding. Receivers struggled to create separation, and nothing came easy. Protection began breaking down quickly. The simple plays disappeared, forcing Shedeur Sanders to improvise, extend snaps, and turn broken situations into something usable. Every play felt like survival mode, yet he never folded. Sanders showed real mental toughness, standing tall in the pocket, taking contact, and still delivering accurate throws under pressure. His footwork stayed sharp, his eyes stayed downfield, and his decision-making never unraveled. That is growth happening in real time. That is leadership under stress. This was a young quarterback refusing to shrink when the moment demanded more from him. Even as Buffalo's defense closed in, Sanders kept attacking, proving the stage was not too big and the pressure was not too heavy. The stat sheet does not tell the full story, but the film does. This was a performance built on resilience, poise, and raw competitive drive. Cleveland may have walked away with a loss, but they did not leave empty-handed. They left knowing they have something real under center. The constant hits never rattled Shedeur Sanders. Every time he was knocked down, he got back up, shook it off, and went right back to work like nothing happened.
I did everything, to come back because I didn't want to put like Dylan in a bad situation, since when I was a 2. And like it's tough. It's tough to play that role because you don't get reps, you don't get anything. And I was talking to him, I said, bro, my bad, bro, for putting you in that situation, because it's not ideal, and I want, him to be prepared whenever he was out there, so that's really how all that went.
That kind of toughness stands out immediately. The pain was clear, and the pressure never stopped, but his confidence never dipped. Instead of playing cautious, Sanders continued making throws that very few quarterbacks in the league are willing to attempt. Unfortunately, effort alone could not carry the Browns' offense. Time and again, Shedeur Sanders placed the ball exactly where it needed to be, only to watch chances disappear. The lack of a reliable receiving group showed up at the worst possible times, with drops, missed routes, and timing breakdowns that stalled progress. Several drives told the same story. Sanders handled his responsibilities, but the support around him failed to match that level. There were plays where he delivered precise throws downfield with perfect placement and timing, and nothing came of it. Passes hit receivers cleanly and still ended up on the ground. Other snaps broke down because routes were not finished correctly, creating miscommunication that drained momentum. This was not about arm strength or decision-making. It came down to execution, and the Browns could not operate at the level their quarterback was playing.
I think I have to do my part, get some wins. I think I have to do my part and play clean football, and the rest isn't in my hands.
Across the field, the contrast stood out clearly. Josh Allen had options everywhere, receivers creating space, tight ends winning matchups, and routes developing exactly as designed. Allen was able to carve up the Browns' defense without hesitation, moving the ball with rhythm and control drive after drive. Buffalo looked comfortable, composed, and firmly in charge of the game's pace. Allen's stat line reflected that reality, with 3 touchdowns, efficient production, and full command of the offense. He played like one of the league's top quarterbacks, making the right reads and capitalizing whenever coverage broke down. The contrast was impossible to miss. While Josh Allen benefited from chemistry and consistency, Shedeur Sanders was battling uphill on nearly every snap. Even so, Sanders' individual performance demanded respect. A career-high 67% completion rate does not happen by chance, especially against one of the toughest defenses in football. Completing nearly 7 out of every 10 passes while facing constant pressure says a lot. This was not a clean pocket night built on easy throws. Everything was earned the hard way. That completion rate was more than a stat. It was evidence of growth. It placed Sanders firmly among the league's most intriguing young quarterbacks. What made it stand out even more was the environment around him. Heavy pressure, limited separation, broken plays, and still Sanders stayed accurate, composed, and decisive. He did not speed up or lose control when things got messy. Still, the numbers only tell part of the story. What stood out most was the fight. Sanders never checked out mentally, never stopped competing, and never played small. Even when the Browns were clearly overmatched, he refused to let the game slip away. He threaded throws into tight windows, made difficult reads under pressure, and showed patience while chaos surrounded him. That kind of maturity does not come easy, and it does not happen by accident. For a team searching for direction and stability, Sanders became the one steady presence on the field. As the clock kept moving and Buffalo continued to pull ahead, one thing became clear. Shedeur Sanders was the reason the game stayed within reach. Without him, the night could have unraveled quickly. He kept Cleveland fighting, kept the score respectable, and kept the energy alive while Josh Allen delivered a headline performance. Sanders quietly became the heartbeat of the Browns. His passion was visible, his commitment undeniable, and everyone around him felt it, from teammates to fans, in a franchise desperate for offensive life.
I'm not God. I can't dictate what's going to happen each and every day, each and every minute, so you just got to enjoy what you do have. You got to enjoy the present. You can't look too deep into the future, because then you'll miss the blessings and the lessons that you learned from the now.
This performance mattered in ways that go beyond the box score. Critics may focus on the sacks or point to the interceptions, but that framing misses the bigger picture. Shedeur Sanders did something more important than chasing clean numbers. He showed he can lead through adversity. He showed he can handle pressure, take punishment, and still compete in a game that ultimately ended in frustration. Shedeur Sanders stood out as the one player who refused to let circumstances control him. What stood out most was not just the throws or the raw production, but his ability to endure adversity and keep pushing forward. Every sack he absorbed and every turnover on the stat sheet could have damaged his confidence under those conditions. For many quarterbacks, those moments become breaking points. That was not the case here. Sanders stayed locked in. His body language stayed steady. His focus never drifted. He did not start forcing risky throws or playing timid. He trusted his preparation and stayed mentally sharp even when the game speed stayed high. That level of resilience separates competitors from true leaders. Each hit became a lesson rather than a setback. Each mistake turned into fuel for improvement instead of hesitation. Sanders did not let frustration take over. He redirected it into discipline, composure, and responsibility. That is the foundation of a quarterback built for long-term success. His willingness to get back up, reset, and lead again said everything about his makeup. Even as the game drifted out of reach, Sanders never checked out. He stayed engaged with teammates, directed the offense, and competed for every yard available. This was not about individual numbers. It was about showing the kind of presence teams can build around. That sense of responsibility is the real takeaway here. It was not the sacks or the interceptions that defined the night. It was the steady fight that never faded. That kind of resolve is what coaches value most when evaluating a quarterback. It is also what teammates respond to and what fans remember long after the final score. Looking ahead, there is little doubt Shedeur Sanders is a foundational piece for the Browns. His development is easy to track. His confidence continues to stabilize, and his mental toughness already looks advanced for his stage. As his timing sharpens and chemistry improves, his potential only continues to rise. This showing against Buffalo was more than another entry on the schedule. It felt like a preview of the quarterback he is becoming, one who can handle pressure, absorb adversity, and still lead with belief. That is how franchise quarterbacks are built. The Browns may have taken a loss, but Sanders walked away with something far more important: respect across the league. Fans around the NFL noticed it. Analysts acknowledged it. Opponents felt it on the field. He showed that toughness is not just about arm strength or highlight throws, but about mindset and response. In a difficult loss, Sanders displayed the heart of a competitor who refuses to let circumstances define him. The outlook remains positive because leadership like that does not fade away. It develops. That shifts the conversation toward the fans and the organization. Did Shedeur Sanders prove he is more than a rookie placed into a difficult situation? Did his composure and resilience show that he has the foundation needed to guide this franchise forward?
Do you feel like you belong here on this team?
Obviously, I think overall as a player, I feel like I put in the work. I feel like everything I do, I try to do it to my best, and that's all I ask for. So,
how much will that determination influence his growth moving ahead? Can he continue elevating his play despite limited support? Or does the organization need to improve the structure around him to unlock his full ability? And most importantly, do you believe Shedeur Sanders can rise above moments like this and become the long-term answer at quarterback for the Browns? This game will not be remembered for the score. It will be remembered for what it revealed. In the middle of pressure, noise, and setbacks, Shedeur Sanders showed exactly who he is and what he can become. Not perfect, not finished, but built the right way. Moments like this shape quarterbacks. They expose weaknesses, demand growth, and test resolve. Sanders did not shrink. He absorbed the lesson, stayed present, and kept leading. That matters more than any single result on a Sunday night. For the Browns, this was not just a loss. It was information. It was clarity. It was a glimpse into the future under center. Sanders showed traits teams spend years searching for: poise under stress, accountability, and the ability to compete when things are not going your way. Now the conversation moves forward. How does Cleveland build around him? How do they support his development and give him the tools to take the next step? Those answers will define what comes next. If you want deeper breakdowns, real film-based insight, and honest conversations about performances like this, make sure you're locked in with Huddle Files. That's where the game slows down and the truth shows up. And you already know, we'll have every second of it broken down, every twist, every leak, every hidden play behind the headlines. So like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share it out. Stay locked in with Huddle Files, where the real NFL stories live.